Hello, dear viewer. I am an active Warframe player enjoying the game on a daily basis. I simply love everything about the game. Warframe has a dense set of rules, a lot of posts, and YouTube videos will guide you to understand each nook and cranny that the game can offer. A quick search with more educational related tags like guide or tutorial, along with a general topic like damage, will show you decent examples. I was encouraged to make a video simplifying the combat rule set of Warframe in one video. Mainly your approach toward various enemies in relation with your weapons, hopefully not shorter than 20 minutes. There will be value in making that kind of video. However, it still doesn't align with what I love about Warframe. Think about it. The ranks for your account are called Mastery ranks. The story is about you, the player, and the character you play as, to learn the way of this mysterious universe, whether it's for combat or whatever the story is about. No spoilers in this video. Every aspect of the game align quite nicely. I find more enjoyable to keep it that way for most of your sessions, without diving too soon into guides, strats, and of course spoilers. Instead, I will give you directions and good habits to learn on your own and, in my opinion, have a lot more fun in Warframe. First off, read the in-game tips. Granted, Warframe isn't known to give tips and explanations for anything, but compared to what we had before, they are quite generous with their tips now. Their last issue might be that it's not that obvious and players are not directly informed about them. There are various places you can look for tips within the game itself. First one, probably the oldest and less precise, will be the Cordex. The training and mission parts give short summaries on most mission types and a couple of systems within Warframe. It gives a decent first idea for each category. You should read them if you want to learn properly. The more you play the game, the more you will find these sections are lacking in depth. They were only introductions. Next up is your arsenal. You'll spend a lot of time in there. Digital Extreme makes sure you can find some help on most related windows you will open. If you go to your Warframe abilities, you can find descriptions on your passive abilities and tips. You get various tips related to your specific Warframe kit. Most of the time, you can go even further, but those tips are decent first steps to use your Warframe. Reminding you what the Warframe can do with its abilities, its synergies, not only helps you play, it also helps you build it. Knowing the strengths and weaknesses of a Warframe means you can figure what modes it might need even before playing it. Of course, every player may approach the game differently, and those are only tips related to the abilities. There are a lot more things to consider when playing. You will be changing your build accordingly as you move on. Your own experience will tell you what your build is lacking, both in relation with your own habits as a player, your arsenal, and the enemies you're facing. These quick tips can be found on most windows, but they are less visible than on the Warframe abilities windows. Once you read the tips, try them out, see if what you learn really applies in your games. Then try to explore on your own while leveling the Warframe. If you're satisfied with what you keep finding, or the current state of your frame, good. If you feel like you're lacking something, and it bothers you that you're not finding it on your own, please do look up a guide or some tips. I personally check Warframe Wiki for the numbers it gives on the abilities. For example, some parts of an ability may not be displayed to the player when reading the tooltips in-game, even though they might matter in your tactics. Warframe.fandom.com will have lengthy descriptions of each ability. The details might give you even more ideas for builds and tactics. Make sure to check it out when in need. It also has some decent description for each weapon, mostly useful when stating their unique features, which are not always explained in-game. Sometimes they are vaguely in the weapon's description. Here is another list of tips related to the upgrade window. You should look for tips first when getting on a window you're not used to. The look of the related icon might differ, but it may be an exclamation mark or a button written tutorial, tips, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a question mark icon someday. Those are tips you could expect to read from those interface elements. What you don't know yet is that there are other tooltips that are far less visible, such as these. When you are on the arsenal window or upgrade window, hovering your mouse over each stat will give you a specific tooltip. While it still doesn't give all the details, which you might find on the Warframe Wiki, it still is a great start. Even statues, which had description in the trading section of the Cordex, actually has more info in the arsenal tooltips. Make sure to read all tooltips at least once. It even talks briefly about Shield Gate, a powerful mechanic allowing frames using shield to get up to 2 seconds invulnerability when the shields are depleted. Warframe has too much info to give you. Overall, not giving you all the details straight up is actually a better move for starters. It is a lot faster to read and understand 15 words for a tooltip rather than 300. Feel free to check the wiki when you need more details on a specific topic. Build videos on YouTube can be interesting, but you shouldn't make it your main source of information. You won't be learning as much. A video related to your favorite game is bound to be enjoyable to some extent, but learning the fundamental rules brings more fun and saves you time on the long run. Sometimes there won't be any tips at all, no explanation, nada. Testing, Warframe Wiki, and reaching out on forums might be the only places you can learn at that time. One example would be the incubator in your ship. There are requirements displayed to incubate a pet, but there's no explanations or tips. If you're playing the game on a regular basis, you will find that you spend a lot more time playing than watching videos. Be curious. Make sure to try a bit of everything in each mission. Test the limits. You will be learning a lot, whether it's about the enemies, your gear, the map you're fighting in, anything. And the game is always being updated. You should definitely rely more on your daily experience than anything else which may be more than 2 months old. One way to quickly start some testing is to go into the Simulacrum, a mode you can access thanks to Simulus. It will let you spawn any enemy you scanned, up to 20 enemies. You can enable or disable their AI. The time saver in this mode is that you can change your arsenal without quitting. Test your build, figure out what it's lacking, change, test again. While you could find the best build by brute forcing every mode possible on all existing enemies one after another, it should be obvious that understanding the rules first will help you greatly. Lastly, I would like to finish on a few points where the Cordex training section didn't fully deliver again. On page 4 of the damage subsection, it says, your enemy has various weaknesses and resistances. Providing example, what they're not saying is that you can check each of these stats in your Codex too. Go to the Universe, then Factions part of the Codex. You will get to see all the data you need to fight against your enemies. Data about an enemy will be shown to you if you scanned it enough times with any scanner. Another thing about scanner, when you're aiming with it or using it, it will produce various sounds. The loud ones means there's something you can scan with this specific scanner around you. When there's no loud sound, it means nothing is scannable around you. That's about it for this video. I could make tons of videos about this game, but I value your own experience and mine far too much to commit. Now, experiment, stay curious, and have fun, Tenno.